Okay, so let's talk about Oscola referencing, which is usually being used for students who are doing law. I'm going to give you some rules, explain the rules, and also give you some examples of how to do Oscola referencing. Remember, this is mostly for law students. Okay, so what is the difference between Oscola referencing and APA or Harvard referencing is that here, instead of having in-text citation, we are going to have our citation as a footnote at the end of our clause. Okay, so for example, here you can see that it's saying that a number is going to be displayed here. For example, you can say that in Roberts and Johnson, and then after the comma or after the dot, then the number, which is the footnote number is there, footnote number is there, and then you continue your sentence. Okay, so instead of saying, I don't know, the year 1964, no, you're not going to do that. You're just going to add a footnote for the references. These footnotes contain full information. So then what is this going to have? This is your footnote. Okay, so this is in the citation, which you just provide a number, and then in the footnote you provide the citation, which you can see is look like this. You have the number, you have the name, and basically the year, which I'm going to explain to you later. So to save a space in a scholar citation, abbreviations are used for the name of various publication and legal bodies. Okay, so instead of saying United Kingdom, you can say UK, or instead of saying United Kingdom Supreme Court, you just say UKSC, or you say that CR refers to criminal appeal report. So it's really important, and it's standard to use abbreviations within those scholar citations, because we want to say one concept which is really important in Oscola referencing is what we call pinpointing. What do we mean by pinpointing? It means referring to a specific page number within a source, which is called pinpointing. Okay, so here, for example, we want to basically in our footnote, we have the name of the authors, we have the year, and the green one is basically the page on which the report begins, and then 519, which is basically is the second number, pinpoints the passage you are referring to. Remember that a paragraph number should be used instead of page number. So if you can, instead of saying paragraph number, you can use page number. Only do this if paragraph numbers are explicitly used in the text. Paragraph numbers appears in a square brackets and can be used for pinpointing in the same way as page number. Okay, so here you can see that we are adding paragraph page numbers. Here we are using paragraph numbers. Something that is really important, obviously, is that if you are pinpointing a judge's comments within a case report, you are supposed to include the name of the judge, and some special terms are used in this citation. Okay, so here if we are saying that if the judge is a peer, refer to them as Lord. For example, Lord Williams. If they are Lord Lady Justice, use LJ. For example, William LJ, which is what we've done here. Okay, so in this footnote, you can see that we have the name, we have the year in brackets, and we have the page number. This is the abbreviation, and this is basically the judge who has quoted this one. And you can see that this one is the judge is a peer, so we say that William J. If the judge is a peer, refer to them as Lord, ladies, and so on, which I explained to you here. So that's what's happening. Here we have another concept, which is, we call it cross-referencing. Basically, when you are repeating your citation, you don't need to repeat all of this again. You can just say IBID, which is the Latin for in the same place, and then the page number, so don't repeat yourself. Sometimes the reference is not the one before, but it was two of them before. Okay, for example, you already cited Davis and Degnam, okay, and then you have another citation, and then again you want to reference David and Degnam. Here, instead of saying IBID 522, the page number which we did in the previous one, you mention the previous citation and then the number of the previous citation. So for example, N1, that means that the one number before this one, and then the page number. For this one, if it's a Clarkson, it was 2, so it was between these two, so you add the name of the last name of the author, 2 references before. You see, it's this one, 2 references before, so you put the N2 and then you put the page number. When does it happen? When you are going to repeat this. If this was exactly after this, you would just put IBID. If it was 2 of them after that, you put the last name, and the number before, and then the page number. Let's have a look at an example of a case report. When you are citing a case, you usually begin with a neutral citation. Okay, for example, the party names, Williamson and McDonald. So you start with that one, and then after that you add the year number, yes, what year it was, and then the abbreviations, yes, and the year for the report is displayed differently depending on whether it is essential to the citation. For reports where each year is also identified with a volume number, the year appears in normal brackets. For those where multiple volumes are appearing, then we are going to have in a square bracket. So you need to have a look at and decide whether you need to add the year number in a square bracket or in a normal bracket, and the rest is just the same here. If you want to provide citation for acts of parliament, this is the format: act, the title year, section number, subsection number, and paragraph number. For example, use a short version of the title if the full title is longer than 3 words. Okay, for example, Offensive Weapons Act. Okay, if necessary, refer to the specific parts of an act of parliament using section. Okay, for example, you can say this was the section, subsection, and paragraph number. Okay, so you can see that title number, the section, yes, which section it is and what number is it. Even if it has subsections or paragraph number, you can also use it. For statutory instruments or numbers, that here is the format. You put the title year, for example, communication, you put the year, the SI year, and also you put finally you put the number. Here is an example of a report by House of Lords or House of Commons. Okay, they are slightly different but not much. You write HC bill or HL bill depending upon which house has the bill. Okay, so bill title, you add the bill title, HC bill, and then session, and then the bill number. For example, transport HC bill, the year, and then what was the bill number. Hansard is the official transcript of parliamentary debates in the UK, so the format would be HC Deb or HL Deb, and then the date, volume number, and column number. For example, HC Deb 5th of February 2020, the volume number and the column number. For books, you put the author name. Okay, so here you have the author name, the book title, for example, criminal law text cases and materials, and then publisher year. So it was, for example, 2018. For journals, it's the same. You can see that the format is the author. Okay, for example, Gunter Tebner, and then the article title, Legal Authorities, and then the year, and then volume number, journal name, page number that you need to include. Okay, and then at the end, remember that you need to have a bibliography. So at the end, you add a bibliography list of all of your secondary sources, that everything other than cases and legislation. For example, here you would list handset, books, journal articles cited, and other sources such as blogs, social media, and newspaper. Anything rather than cases and legislation should be added as a bibliography at the end. And you can see that here we have the author name, the year, the title, and then basically available at where, when was it retrieved from, and so on. So this is the bibliography which is at the end of your Oscola referencing basically. So I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.